Welcome to Horror Melee,
a podcast born of a group of people who love to talk and debate horror.
Every episode, one of us picks a movie to review, and the rest of us must either suffer or enjoy that pick.
Turn your brain off
and enjoy.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Patrick. I'm here with Holly.
Hello.
And Stephanie.
Hi.
Welcome to Horror Melee. This week we are talking about 1981's The Pit, also known as Teddy, which just goes into many different issues with this movie already. It was directed by Louis Lehman, screenplay by Ian Stewart, and it stars Sammy Snyders, who plays Jamie Benjamin, Jeannie Elias, who plays Sandy O'Reilly, Sanjay Smits, who plays Miss Lloyd, and Laura Hollingsworth, who plays Marge Livingstone. This movie is about a 12-year-old Jamie Benjamin is a misunderstood boy. His classmates pick on him, his neighbors think he's weird, his parents ignore him, but now Jamie has a secret weapon. Deep in the woods, he's discovered a deep pit full of man-eating creatures called trogs. And it isn't long before he gets an idea for getting revenge and feeding the trogs in the process. Welcome to the pit, guys. Before we jump in, I do want to say there is two taglines to this movie. The first one being, Jamie wouldn't kill anyone unless Teddy told him to. And the second being, down in the pit, there's something alive, half human, half monster, half crazed. Pray to God it only kills you.
Wait. Pray to God it only kills you versus what?
Yeah, what else did it do?
Know. But this goes perfectly with how both these taglines go perfectly with how I felt about this movie. That it had no idea what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
But let's jump into our initial thoughts of the film. Let's start with you, Holly. What did you think of 1981's The Pit?
Wow, let's see what. Yeah, I don't think it really had a clear idea of what it wanted to be. At first, I was very confused as to why. Like, what was going... Did everybody know something about Jamie that we were going to find out later? And then there were, 3 different storylines going on. And I was like, okay, well, I'm curious as to how this is going to come together. So then I got really engaged with it. And then nothing came together. So I was confused by a lot of things. I have a lot of questions, but... This is one of those movies that you can sit down and do MST3K style. So it was fun. It just had no point, which I'm cool with. I like watching those movies once in a while.
Stephanie, what are your thoughts of the film?
It was really hard to watch the first time because I didn't really know what was going on. And I lost a lot of attention just because nothing seemed to grab my attention. But there were, definitely some classic weird 80s tropes in there, like idiot cops, goofy background music where it wasn't supposed to be goofy background music. And then the ending was perfect. I was like, yep, that's a great way to close it out. I did read which I'm curious about because there isn't much information I could quickly find on this movie. But in Wikipedia, Ian Stewart's original screenplay was way different from the final film.
Yeah.
And the original screenplay, Jamie was 8 or 9 years old, and the tralalogs were figments of his imagination, which would have made a lot more sense. When the director Lou Lehman signed on to direct, he made Jamie older, the monsters real, and added more humor to the original script. Which I was like...
Just a bad call.
Yeah, was this supposed to be a goofy horror comedy?
Well, I don't know. We'll get into it more with each scene, but I agree with you guys a lot on what you said. Like, I'm going to just pretty much echo, because this movie just, it didn't know what type of horror movie it wanted to be, so it was just all horror movies. You know what? We're going to be a creature feature, psychological thriller. Maybe try to make it a little slasher, maybe a little gore. But at the end, it was just like, what am I watching? But have you guys, before this, have you guys ever seen it or heard about this movie at all?
Nope.
No?
I haven't seen it, but I think... Well, okay, so one time my friend and I were talking. He brought this movie up, and he just had a vague memory about a kid and a babysitter and some kind of hole in the ground in the back, and I couldn't think of what he was talking about. And then you picked this movie, Patrick, and I was like, oh wait, this is it. So I was really excited to watch it. And wow, I'm gonna punch him in the face now.
I will say the babysitter is played by the babysitter Sandy was phenomenal. She was the best actress in the movie.
Oh yeah, she was fun to watch.
But I will say they make all the women in the movie, even like the teachers of this small town, like they make all the women very attractive. So like Jamie has someone to like perv on. And I was like, there's no way that a small town, and I don't know, this was filmed half in Canada, half in the United States, so I don't know where it actually took place. I know the parents were moving to Washington, so I'm going to say America is going to have, like, you know, a teacher that hasn't been working there for 30 years at the local school. But Jamie Benjamin, God, he was a good actor, but man, this whole perv thing that he did through the whole movie, how they just wrote him to be this big perv, and like, oh, he's just like a 12-year-old boy looking, you know, finally discovering women. There's no way I ever cut nude girls out of magazines and glued my teacher's head to it and sent it to her in the mail.
Like a ransom letter.
Yeah. And then, you know, he does this with his babysitters. So I want to ask you guys, did you ever babysit?
I did.
Did you ever babysit?
I did not.
No?
No.
Stephanie, did any of your kids have a little crush on you?
No, I mean, there were definitely some weird kids, but when I babysat, I was like in high school, so I was just as awkward as they were. And I would be like, all right, I don't know, let's go watch a movie, okay? Did you wash
any of their backs?
No, I did not. No, I wasn't. Yeah. This was like Friday night, come over, order a pizza with my kids and watch a movie while we go have a date night. Like, and then sometimes during the day, but it was like, all right, let's, you know, I would like make them watch a movie I wanted to watch and like do some arts and crafts.
All right, we're going to watch Halloween, but I'm 6. You got to watch it young.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. When you guys started this movie, were you confused? Yes. Did it feel like it started in the middle of the movie?
Yeah.
Just like Carnival of Souls?
Yeah.
I had to rewind it and like make sure I didn't start in the middle of the movie again. Why do I keep picking movies like this with terrible editing?
What was the point of starting the movie with a scene that's halfway in the movie? Like, is this their poor attempt at making a what's to come? The pit. Oh my gosh. But it's like they literally reused content.
Yeah, I thought when it first started that it was just setting up how he's picked on and how he's driven to this point, and then they just reused the same footage later. I was like, okay, well, and you know, with the story that goes on, I was like, I don't know what the point of using that was.
Yeah. Because right after that scene, it's him walking home, and he runs into Abigail, who just is like, obviously says, "Get away from my bike, you're a creep." He has that weird scene with Miss Livingston, right? Where he sent her a nude picture of her with her face on it. He meets the two old ladies who just say he's a weird boy and that they can't wait for him to move away. And then I guess that scene where Freddy punches him in the face for asking to join his club at school, which...
Hi, are you Freddie Phelps?
Yeah? Who are you?
I'm Jamie. I was wondering if I could join your club and...
I will be frank with you, Miss O'Reilly. There may be... crush. He's going through that difficult stage. You know.
Girls?
Yes.
Does he have a girlfriend?
Well, he has really no friends, boys or girls. His mother, of course.
Yeah. It was just weirdly set up. It was like they wanted to bring out that no one liked Jamie, but all of Jamie's actions after that point, you will understand why no one liked him.
Yeah, because I thought they were going to go in the direction of there isn't really anything wrong with him. He's just going through normal growing up stuff, and everybody around him has something off with them. Like there's something weird going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. It just turned into, oh, now I get what they were talking about.
Did you catch the little side story the dad gives about why the old women hate him?
I don't think so.
He was found swinging in a tree naked with the Superman cape on.
Yeah,
right.
playing Tarzan.
Yeah.
I was like, you're a young kid. Like, why is that weird? I don't know. Like,
But like, you could have just, had the scene with the teacher and then, Miss Livingston, where that whole scene right there, if it went right into the next scene where we meet Sandy and meet the babysitter, right? She's talking to the mom. I mean, that whole conversation where the mom's like, yeah, he's weird. I'm kind of scared of my son. I love him dearly, but he's fucking weird. And then they're at the dinner table and he dropped his napkin and started looking up her skirt. That whole scene would have shown us just enough that this is a weird fucking kid. We didn't need the first 20 minutes of the movie at all.
because in the beginning, you also have him writing on the board that he's not going to bring adult books. And then the teacher brings the book back, creative nude models or whatever it's titled.
Why is it at the school?
Why is that at the library? Like, where kids can just easily access. And
is the town just that small where the school library is the library where they have, the adults only section?
I was wondering if it was high school is kind of intermingled with them, and those are for older art school classes. I don't know. I don't know. I can't justify that.
And I guess I didn't pick up the first time. I guess I picked up that Jamie made that little cut out the body of the nude and put Miss Livingston's head on the body. Like, what was he trying to accomplish with that?
I don't know, but only fucking serial killers do shit like that. So.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much in this movie where I was like, is Lou Layman a creeper? Is he just a weirdo?
I don't know, but like that whole dinner table scene where he's looking up her skirt. I know she's like a psych student and she's like, oh, I've handled bad kids like this. But no red flags are popping up. The mom's sitting there is just like, I love my son, but I also fear him a lot. And now you're looking at my skirt. No red flags. You're going to live with this kid. And on the first night, you go to sleep. What's he do? You wake up to him staring at your boobs while you sleep.
I was just watching you sleep.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
And then, here, let me make you breakfast.
Yeah, everything's better now. I
Right?
made you toast.
Well, according to the psych student, he's exceptional kids. She handles exceptional kids, or whatever she kept saying, like special fun kids.
This whole pervy storyline, it felt like some kind of after school special or something where all these adults are just not talking to him about puberty and sex. And so he's making all these poor decisions, and the babysitter is the only one who's setting boundaries. And I was like, okay, where are they going to go with this? Nowhere. Nowhere.
Yes.
What do they do after that? They bring in his teddy bear, which he talks to, which is just him talking to himself through his head.
I was like, oh, he's having a thought. Okay.
Yeah. So now he's talking to his teddy bear, so you're like, okay, so we're still, we have this pervy kid, but obviously something's wrong with him because he's talking to his teddy bear. Great, okay, so this is the story we're going to. And then he tells his teddy bear, I love this babysitter. I'm in love with her. She's super pretty. I'm going to tell her. Okay, so we're like, what is he going to tell her? What does he tell her? Oh, there's ancient creatures living in a pit he found in the forest somewhere called trogs. Okay, so now we're going in this direction. I love creature features, but if you just stuck with the pervy kid, and the talking teddy bear, you probably would have had a better movie.
Yeah.
If you removed the creatures together. Which is sad for me to say. I don't know. He decides to tell her about the creatures, and then we go and see these Ewoks, almost, in the forest. At this point in the movie, I was pretty much losing a lot of interest.
Yeah.
But then I saw the creatures, and I was like, okay, I'll give them a little more. What did you guys think of these creature design? Because that's kind of kept me around for the next 30 minutes of the movie, 40 minutes of the movie. What was your overall thought of the design of them?
At first, I was disappointed that I couldn't see them too well when they were in the pit. I was like, okay, well, hopefully we get to see more of them because they look interesting. And then when they came out of the pit later on, I don't know, they looked a little like... Have you seen the Three Stooges?
Yes.
You know those episodes where they have a guy in a gorilla costume?
Yes.
That's what they looked like. And the close-ups of their faces looked just they're not animated, so it looked very puppet-like.
That's funny you say the puppet-like, because when I first saw them in the pit, they reminded me of, in the 1920s where you had old movies with the stop-motion claymation giant creatures.
Yeah.
That's what it almost felt like to me.
Yeah.
But they weren't stop-motion. They weren't claymation. They were just guys in a suit. Which I also thought, it kind of resembled his teddy bear, so I was like, oh, maybe his teddy bear is, kind of connected to these creatures. No. It wasn't.
So I thought the same thing. The second time I watched it, the title shows the red or the orange eyes of the trogs, and then it also shows orange eyes of Teddy. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. They're
connected because he could talk to Teddy, and Teddy is also represented through the trogs or something. He's into amphibians and he has a terrarium, so he likes reptiles like that. And he kind of created a reptile teddy bear combo through the trogs or some shit. I don't know. But no, you guys are right. As the movie goes on, you're like, no, these are two separate entities. You have Teddy, who's being an absolute creep. And then the trogs, who are just we're just here in a pit.
You said two separate entities.
Yeah.
It was, we had two separate movies that just merged into one with overlapping characters.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you just had this whole, he's a 12-year-old pervert the whole time. That was really unnecessary.
Yeah, so he goes to the pit and he goes home, right? And he starts talking to Sandy again about the trogs, and she's trying to tell him they're things in his fairy tales. And then right after that, it's like, oh, we're not talking about the Trogs anymore. We're going back to pervert kid. Sandy's going to go wash my back in the bathtub because the suds are going to cover my dick because I'm a 12-year-old kid. There's no suds in the bathtub. There's nothing. She's just washing his back strangely. And then we go into his past where his mom's constantly bathing him because he's dirty.
Well, she's washing, like, she's washing him to make him pure again because he's a creepy pervert.
Yeah. Oh, and guess what? That goes nowhere. Just gonna throw that out there.
Well, I mean, it goes back to Holly's comment where it's the 80s. Parents just didn't have those conversations with their kids, apparently.
True.
But, but then you also have, like, that weird scene with Miss Livingston and the super brat Abigail where they're, like, exercising together, like, choreo stretching together. And she's like, and they're having, like, a heart-to-heart. And Abigail's like, why are guys weird? Why is Jamie weird? And Miss Livingston is like, well, he's not weird and he's not normal. He's just distressing.
Yeah, and her character literally fears Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she fears him because she knows what he is, and he's a weird pervert, and she thinks he's the one doing this to her.
Meanwhile, Abigail is, like, bullying him, being a total meanie to him.
Yeah, that bike scene.
All right, I wrote down that if that happened between, like, really good friends or siblings or something, that would have been hilarious. But because she's picking on him, I felt bad for Jamie. I was like, that was mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that scene was hard to watch too because that fake laughter that she does was so annoying. It just pierced my ears in the wrong way.
I am glad that, like, Miss Livingston was like, don't be a meanie like that. Like, you shouldn't treat people like that. And she kept correcting Abigail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after all these scenes, we finally, like, Jamie's finally going to go figure out what the Trogs eat, right? Sandy tells him, I don't know, they eat candy bars, which he takes literally and goes buys a bunch of candy bars and starts throwing it at them. Which it sounds like they're eating the candy bars. There's all these chewing sounds and stuff in that scene, so I'm like, okay, they're just going to eat whatever he throws down there. But he goes to the library and gets a book and reads just one word and it's like, oh, they're carnivores.
In the table of contents.
Yeah.
Carnivores, flesh eating. It says that's not at all associated with troglodytes, but he's like, perfect, I got it. Figured it out.
So then he starts buying meat, starts throwing it in the hole. They're eating it up, and he's like, oh, that's what you guys eat. Great. And then he runs out of money, so he starts stealing money from the babysitter to buy more meat to throw in the hole. And then we have this weird scene with her and him walking through a park talking about what he did wrong. And they never bring up if he stole the money or not. It's just like beating around the bush. And at the end of the scene, where's Jamie? Behind a bush holding flowers. It was so pointless. That whole scene's like, Sandy is like trying to act like a psychologist and try to get through to him.
Absolutely.
But the writing's so bad it never feels like that. It just feels like, I don't know, it just feels so forced and boring. But eventually, I guess Jamie feels bad about stealing the money, or it's not going to steal money for him anymore. So his teddy bear still tells him to start throwing people down the hole.
Oh, no, his enemies. Specifically his enemies.
Oh, yeah, sorry, his enemies. And that's literally where the movie picks back up to actually get interesting again. Because all between, like, the scene where she's washing his back until then is, like, really boring.
Yeah.
I mean, they go to a football game. They meet Sandy's boyfriend. Just weird, pointless character.
But then they also have that super creepy scene, which I was like, what was the situation between Jamie and Miss Livingston? Where he that's right before he starts killing people. Yeah. Where he calls her, because that's his neighbor across the street, right? So
Yeah.
this kid, like,
Because it's choir night.
first of all, what the heck did that mean? I was like, oh yeah, he's
It
like,
means Abigail's going to be out of the house.
again, like, this made no sense. He calls Miss Livingston saying, I kidnapped Abigail. Take your clothes off so I can take pictures of you. And then
Wait. He's not telling her this. He recorded this beforehand perfectly to match up with every response that she
I was
has.
very impressed by that.
Yeah. And then buys it from a payphone with the 62 cents he had left.
oh my gosh. I didn't even pick up at any of that, but because I was like, how was he on the phone and taking pictures at the same time? So he went to a payphone, called her, hit play on the recorder, has a conversation with her.
Yep.
And then so Miss Livingston, what person gets a phone call and says, hey, I kidnapped your niece? Because even Abigail was like, Auntie Marge or whatever. Like, I could see you take your clothes off. And she's like, okay, I'm going to take my clothes off. What? Like,
I don't
that, I just like,
I don't have a kid.
like,
So I don't
I mean, like, I don't
know.
I don't believe you. My Abigail's at choir night. Like,
Yeah.
who's like, let me check and make sure she's actually kidnapped. But nope. Miss Livingston just goes right into it. She's like, okay, you got it.
Hello?
Hello, Miss Livingston.
Yes, who is it?
You have a niece named Abigail?
Yes. Is something happening?
She's been kidnapped, Miss Livingston. And no one will ever find her.
Oh, no.
But she'll be set free if you do exactly what I tell you to.
Yes. Anything. Please don't hurt her. What do you want me to do?
I want to see you, Miss Livingston. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm watching you now, Miss Livingston. You could call the police, but then, poor Abigail. And I'd much rather look at you than her. Don't try and fool me. I can see you in the window. What's more important? Being shy or getting Abigail back? That's right. That's a good Miss Livingston. Slowly.
All right, damn you. You want to see my body?
Aunt Margaret, what are you doing?
I was just undressing when I could kill you!
I bet Abigail was surprised. Look at the look on her face. I'm gonna look at these a lot.
I mean, were peeping Toms pretty common in the 80s?
I don't know. I know people got like gross phone calls a lot because that's what people did. I mean, there wasn't, Netflix.
Yeah, the heavy breathing phone calls.
Yeah, right. And it was easy. And there was no like caller ID or anything, so
Yeah, that whole scene was so weird. Another thing that was weird with this movie, especially for like the time frame of just like horror movies coming out at this time. Usually nudity is like a very big thing in a lot of these horror films. And anytime that they do any nudity in this movie, it's a few frames and then it's out. And then it's like a second and then it's gone. So which I felt was like kind of weird for this type of movie. Because usually these rated R horror movies in the 80s, it's like, oh, I'm slowly going to stab you through your right boob and show the boob.
Right.
And that's how it was. It was like, I don't know, they're just like nudity was they just loved nudity at this time in a lot of horror films, especially slashers. But this one, it seemed like he was kind of reserved with it.
So on IMDb, in their like trivia, there's one note that says the director's wife refused to let him shoot the nude scenes, so the screenwriter shot them instead. The only shot involving nudity that a director was allowed to film was the quote-unquote skinny dipping scene, which is towards the end of the movie where it's the two people swimming.
Yeah.
And only because the actress was his daughter.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
So this leads me to
What?
believe that the director was a creep. He changed the movie to be a horror comedy, made the kid older, made the kid more pervy. And I'm guessing that he definitely put a little bit of himself in this movie and maybe wrote Jamie's role to be as pervy because he's a perv.
See, I felt the movie became a comedy as soon as Jamie started killing people. Well, I say killing people, having them accidentally fall into the pit to get eaten alive. Because it's like, all of a sudden, we get this weird, happy killing montage of Jamie just going on this killing spree. It's a killing spree. And it's like very happy and goofy.
Yeah, that music too.
Yeah, and the rest of the movie, like the beginning part of the movie was not like that at all. It was just like this weird, like, flip. I mean, because, let's see, the first person he kills is Abigail, right? Where he tells her
Yeah.
there's a bike path that no one's ever ridden before. So follow me if you want this whistle. Just a weird time. But she does, and then he steals her bike, and then she just walks into the pit.
That was hilarious.
So, I mean, I guess Jamie's not killing anyone. He's just leading them to their death, right?
Yeah.
You lead the horse to water,
Yeah.
but it chooses to drink. So, is this movie full of suicides? Well, actually, no. He did kill one person. The old woman. She did not fall out.
Oh,
He
man.
definitely.
Yeah, he dumped her.
That kill, I was like, how far did he push her? Because in an earlier scene, we see him running to the pit and he bends over to catch a breath. And that's just him running to the pit. In this scene, he's pushing an old lady and a wheelchair on a dirt path.
Yeah, I remember earlier in the movie he mentioned to Sandy that it was about a mile away. So it's like, oh, he's pushing her a mile as she's screaming and flailing her arms above her.
And no one notices?
Yeah.
See, this is where the movie becomes comical, because like the other ones, it's just in the beginning, it's just all these pervy.
Yeah, it's
that
really
Jamie does.
uncomfortable, and you're just wondering
Yeah.
where it's going to go with it.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot about this, which I also thought they were gonna do with something in the movie, where the teddy bear fucking moves his own head.
Yeah. That creeped me out, and I was so excited for that.
Yeah.
And
That was it, though.
yeah, Steph, what you were saying earlier, that you thought that the teddy bear and the trogs were going to be connected. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, that has to be where we're going with this. Because Sandy brought up, like, oh, do they talk to you? And then he's trying to communicate with them. So I was thinking along the lines of what you were thinking is he's talking to Teddy and he's kind of communicating with the trogs that way. But
Yeah.
Nope, not at all.
So much potential in so many different aspects of this film. But they wanted a giant potluck of horror, and it did not work out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why it's just called the pit. Just throw it all in the pit. Whatever. What are you cooking? Just put it in the pit. Everything in the pit. But wait, no, wait. What was Jamie's situation with Miss Livingston? Why was he taking her pictures? Why was he doing like weird like art collaging with her?
I think he was like infatuated with her because he could see her across the street in her whatever kind of workout outfit that she was wearing, leotard or I don't know, whatever that thing was that she was wearing. It's very revealing, and he just, I guess, would watch her. So I guess he was just that aspect brought him to like be obsessed with her.
Maybe he thought he was being flattering. I don't know. That's the only bit of grace I could give him was he doesn't know what he's doing. He's gonna flatter her, and nope, you're a creep.
He does sneak into the bathroom and write "I love you" on the mirror.
Yeah.
But that's to Sandy.
To Sandy.
Yeah.
So he loves Sandy, but again, like, why did he threaten Miss Livingston to revealing herself? Like I just didn't understand. That just made no sense.
I don't, because this movie should have been remove the trogs. The Teddy's telling him to do all this weird pervy stuff. Then he slowly just starts killing people, and then it would have been a better movie. My Teddy made me do it. Like, that's fucking great.
And then when he's like, I killed everybody, there's nobody left, and then he accidentally, like, Sandy falls into the pit because he's like, let me show you. So that
was the best crying I've seen in a lot of horror movies, though. She killed it with that death scene. Literally.
So Sandy falls in the pit, and then Jamie is smart enough to frame Sandy's new boyfriend by putting all the evidence of everyone he's killed into his car or something, or
yeah.
I don't get it. But then and then all of a sudden now he's haunted by Sandy's ghost.
Oh yeah, now it's a ghost movie.
Yeah.
Forgot about
that.
Or
that's like his conscience, because she was the only person who would talk to him about stuff, like you said, set boundaries and have a conversation. Is haunted by her ghost, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna stick a rope in the pit and have you guys fend for yourself. Like, you're eating humans. Now you should come out of the pit and like go find your own humans.
Yeah, this will be fine.
And that's pretty much the end of Jamie's story right there. But we still have 35 minutes left of the film.
Yeah.
And then you cue, exactly. And then it goes back to this creature feature where you have like a goofy cop who's like, you know why I moved here? Because nothing happens. No one disappears. And then
it's a Scooby-Doo episode without Scooby-Doo.
And then you have like the local townspeople create a very quick militia, and the officer is like, don't try to figure anything out, just shoot to kill.
Okay. Okay. These creatures eat meat and they hunt. But they jumped back as soon as they're like, oh, we're being hunted. They were smart enough to Circus Olay their way back into that pit. But why?
That's my same question. Like, they literally stalked and hunted people, murdered them, hid their bodies. But then a group of like dudes with guns come and they're like, oh shit, let's go back into the pit. Not even hide.
Yeah. And then they swarm the pit and they just like annihilate. They just open fire repeatedly, killing these creatures. But the camera, like, there's a scene in that death where the camera zooms in on the creature's hand as it like shakes, and then it like dies, and I'm like, what's the point of this? What's the whole point of this scene? What's the whole point of this movie?
That part where they're bringing their militia to hunt the trogs, I was thinking of the episode of The X-Files that we talked about, Detour. And I was like, this is like a very, very low budget version of that episode.
Oh, but this blows my mind. The budget for this movie was $1 million in 1981.
What?
Are you kidding me?
Sorry, 1 million Canadian dollars, which I think is just a bunch of IOUs. But in USD, that's like $800,000. This movie did $560 in the box office.
Wait. $560, like 560.00.
Yes,
wow.
$560 in the box office. in like VHS sales, it's done like 100,000, but still, it's never recovered. It's lost. It's like it lost a ton of money. That's probably why he never directed another movie after this.
Holy moly!
They had like this. Literally, this movie had 3 different scripts in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember looking at the time at one point. I wrote down the time. I was like, okay, I'm a half an hour in. It's gonna bring all these elements together. We're kind of divided. We're gonna bring it together, and then we're gonna go for it for the rest of the movie. And it just never did that.
Nope. It kills the Trogs, buries them, and then we cut to Jamie moving in with his grandparents.
So that was my other thing. I was like, wait, what happened to his parents? Did they not move to Seattle? Is he just going there for a visit because he obviously, like, they can't trust babysitters anymore? And, like, whatever happened to the guy that he framed, the boyfriend? Because you have a copy and, like, I don't think he did it. He's just not that type.
Yeah. The evidence got in his car, but like, oh, it was a wild pack of dogs. Oh, so the dogs just took that little girl's tutu off and planted it in his car.
and like the one scene where they're like, well, this is the lady's chair, and I'm like, where are they? Are they in a parking garage? And then the officer like sits in the chair, and it has like an electric control, and he like starts playing with the electric control, and he like, I don't know, it sees him zooming, and then it cuts to a different scene. I was like, what?
That officer?
What?
That officer's character embodies the entire film.
But the thing is, the officer made sense. He was like 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah.
This movie is like 2 + 2 divided by 7, square root it, equals -90 billion.
I think you're giving it too much credit. I think it's 2 + 2 = square. Just not even close to anything. Yeah. I mean, like, okay, so the scene where Jamie kills the 2 kids because he tells them that there's a bag of jewels that he can have for his club as long as he can join it. He chases this poor girl around. It's like terrifying her, and I'm like, well, this is scary. This is like a serial killer kid, and then he somehow walks up and whispers to her, and I guess his breath is made of chloroform, so she passes out instantly. And then he sits there and he's like rocking her and holding her, and he's like, oh, you're so pretty, you don't need this tutu anymore, so I'm just gonna strip you down. I'm just a creepy perv. All right, here you go, Trogs.
But he doesn't do it without giving her a life lesson of like, you can't laugh at people. That's very like rude and mean.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, imagine the creatures weren't there. Jamie is just a fucking weird kid.
Yes.
Who kills the boyfriend, takes the girl, and is going to like murder her and do sexual things to her. That's scarier.
Yeah. And then at the end you see like a pile of bodies at the bottom of the
pit.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that the teddy would have made way more sense then, because he would have, because I don't know, was he just imagining that he was talking to his bear? Was he actually talking to his bear? Because
did the bear fucking moved, so who knows?
So it would have made way more sense that like having that scene again where the bear's head turns when nobody else is there. But it would have made more sense that he's talking to this bear and thinking that, oh, the bear's telling me what to do. I'm going to go kill everyone. And then there's a pile of bodies at the bottom of the pit.
Yeah. And in the last scene, instead of like the girl being like, hi, I'm like your step cousin or whatever, Alicia.
Yeah. So it's not weird if we flirt.
Yeah.
What?
And Alicia shows Jamie a pit, and Jamie's like, those are trogs, and she says, yes, I know, and then goes behind him and pushes him in. Like, it would have been way better if, again, there were no trogs and Jamie was just pushing people and killing people, using a pit to kill people. And then he just like pushed her in the pit.
Yeah. I mean, the ending scene of this movie, where it's a goofy freeze frame on him falling to the pit, sums up everything so well. All of our questions are answered with this. Trogs are just living in every pit and across America and Canada. It's everywhere. I mean, this movie, he could have found another pit with a frozen caveman in it. And I'd have been like, well, I guess this is where we're going now. Because there's just no rhyme or reason to most of the things in this film. Even the ending of this movie makes no fucking sense. Because Alicia takes him... I don't know if you guys noticed, it was the same pit that they covered up. It was the same area. It was the same pit. Probably due to budget reasons, they didn't have a secondary pit, so they used the same pit. But it clearly is the same pit.
So then did the Trogs dig themselves out after the town buried them and shot them and killed them?
Why are creepy kids only finding the Trogs in these massive pits in people's backyards? Dogs aren't accidentally falling in the pits and going missing? I mean...
Everybody didn't, like, nobody saw that pit. Like, a football player
went
long.
How'd you not see a giant hole in the ground?
Yeah, this pit is like 12 feet by 12 feet.
Abigail's, though, was my favorite.
Yeah. Because she just stomps her way in there.
Yeah.
It's so... This movie had so many potential plot points, but yet it didn't close any of them.
No.
It was a poorly made, expensive film for someone with their first directing debut. I mean, I don't know who edited this movie either, because the editing is atrocious in this film too.
Yeah.
The music is terrible. Very generic music. The editing is bad. I mean, Jamie and Sandy are like the only two... I guess all the actors were great, except for the fucking guy who turns his radio on at full volume and puts it right next to his fucking head while he tries to sleep for whatever reason.
With like a rag on his butt.
Yeah. The most Canadian man in the movie, though. His fake denim swim trunks, and him's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, do you want to go skinny dipping? No, see you later. And that whole skinny dipping scene was, I'm with you on this, Steph, was only put in there because the director wanted to see his daughter in a weird way. Just a creepy, creepy dude.
It's weird.
You know, I bet, because the original script is called Teddy, right? I bet the Trogs were just like this kind of symbolism of Jamie's killing, kind of him coping with it, like, oh, I'm not doing the killing, these are doing the killing, even though Jamie's doing the killing. And then this director came and was like, nah, they're real. Trogs are real. Let's get him in this pit. I bet the original script was probably way better than this. But this is Ian Stewart, I believe he only wrote one thing before this, and this was the last thing he ever wrote.
He was like, he just, I'm going to guess, was turned off, was like, fuck this. You guys ruined it. But my next question is, on Wikipedia, it says Teddy by John Galt is a novelization of the film published in 1980. It appears to adhere closer to Ian Stewart's original screenplay, containing more character development and a far darker tone.
Yeah, so he probably took the original screenplay that's called Teddy instead of The Pit
and turned it into a book.
And turned it into a novel.
Yeah. I want to read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. But I swear, if it starts jumping around like the fucking movie, I'm throwing it out.
You're going to throw it in the pit.
This is also considered a Canadian film.
Sorry, Canada.
Canucksploitation.
We're not putting this one on our list. But because it was filmed in mainly Toronto, Ontario, and Wisconsin. I mean, like, even the original tagline, Jamie won't kill anyone unless Teddy told him to.
Yeah.
Great.
Even the picture where it shows him holding a teddy bear with like sparkly eyes, and then you have people's hands coming out, and then you have these, again, orange eyes in the pit. You're like, these have to be connected. I mean, the little trogs kind of look like deranged bears.
Yeah.
Did anybody else pick up on when they were talking about how he doesn't fit in at school, that the other kids put him through some kind of hazing and he didn't pass, and that's why he gets picked on?
What kind of dystopian school are we going to?
And the teachers are like, oh yeah, it's just a fact. Like, he didn't pass. That's why he gets picked on. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, that weird jogging scene with the two teachers.
Yeah.
Or the teacher and the babysitter.
Yeah.
I really want to talk to you about Jamie Benjamin. Well, I'm going for a run, so if you want to talk, you have to jog with me. Let's go. Okay.
I mean, I'm usually confused by movies, but this definitely made zero sense.
Yeah.
I can usually, like, okay, I understand. I can kind of connect dots. I can create dots to connect things. But no, this movie definitely jumped around from, like, weird pervy kid getting picked on, still being a weird pervert, no proper authority figures, and then creepy bear kind of talking to him, telling him to do things, and then you have this creature feature that comes up halfway through it, and then it takes it out to the end.
Oh, don't forget the ghost.
And then the ghost, yes. Ugh.
Yeah, don't forget the ghost.
Which was good, which I was like, you could see her reflection, like her ghost makeup was good, like.
You know what I think this was? Too much director control.
Yep.
That for a director that had no idea what he was doing, who just thought, my ideas are better. I'm the director. I have the final say.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And the executive producer probably like loving him and agreeing with him. That's all I can imagine how this atrocious movie got made. And don't get me wrong, there's aspects of it that I'm like, okay. But overall, as a whole, you know, there's a small following of this movie. Because, you know, I was reading some reviews on it, just like, not like your typical review of the movie, but like your Amazon, I bought this DVD review kind of stuff. And there's so many people that truly love this movie. And then there's people that just bought it because it's so bad. And that just makes me feel so dirty. I just need to go bathe over and over again now.
Do you need me to wash your back?
Yes, please. Don't worry. The suds will be there.
I want to ask you guys, is there anything that you liked about this movie? Any scenes? Anything you were like, that was okay?
Yeah. Jamie being a perv and talking to his teddy bear. I mean, you have the makings of a young, fucking creepy serial killer. And if you were to just focus on that in the movie, it would be a creepy movie. I mean, imagine this movie where, you know, Jamie's being a perv and his teddy bear's telling him to do these weird things to his babysitter, and his babysitter's going fucking insane because she can't see if Jamie's doing it or not, or if she's just losing her mind. Like, that's creepy and great. But the movie was so fucking slow. I can't get past a lot of it. That's the only thing I can say that was good for my point of view.
I liked his conversations with the teddy bear. I thought they had the potential to be very creepy. I liked when he started feeding people to the trogs, but I don't like the music that went along with it because it made it too campy. If they just made it a more serious montage of killing, I don't know if it would have helped, but I would have thought it was more cohesive that way. But I did like the, you know, getting revenge on his enemies and, you know, just tossing people into the pit. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like when he's feeding people to the trogs in the pit, that's cool, but the montage kills it. So if you had like an 80-minute movie about this kid planning his revenge on all these people that just so happens he knows of a pit, like that would probably be a better movie too.
Yeah, that whole like montage was like 5 minutes, and it was like you just killed everybody.
We spent more time at him in a butcher shop buying meat to feed them than we did with a montage of him killing people.
Yes.
I do love that small town butcher. I'm gonna give your mom a call.
You're buying ground beef and London broil? Pff, crazy times we live in.
Yeah, for 5 people?
Yeah. Here's $1. This could have been a cartoon Scooby-Doo episode. Oh no, we're time to unmask the trogs. Jamie, Benjamin, Teddy.
It was Teddy the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it be amazing if it was like Miss Livingston the whole time?
Unmask Teddy,
Yeah.
it's her.
Yes.
Unmask her, it's the teacher. Unmask the teacher, it's the mom. But let's give our just final thought and rating on this film. How many trogs are in this pit for this movie?
I'm going to give this 1 trog in the pit. There was a lot of things left that didn't make sense. That I still don't understand a lot of things. I'm going to give it 1 trog and echo what Miss Livingston said to her niece. It's distressing.
Holly?
I am also going to give this 1 trog. I was so hopeful that all these different strands were going to come together and answer the questions that I had, because I liked them separately, but since they never came together, it was so unsatisfactory. And yeah, there's just so much potential, so many different ways they could have gone with this to make it creepy, to make it a more cohesive story, and it just never happened. And that was really disappointing because there was so much potential. It was distressing. But I think one of the things that I was really curious about was the weird sexual tension that they had, and how on earth they were going to wrap that into this whole creature feature weird Teddy thing. I was like, okay, those just seem so different. How on earth are they going to come together? And I was really looking forward to some kind of explanation, and it never happened, and it's just very disappointing.
I'm going to give this 1 dead twitching trog in a pit. I would give this more, but this movie doesn't do anything creative with camera, with audio, with music, with writing. Cool, you have a bunch of ideas that you're just going to throw in a pit and mix around, but you don't resolve any of these ideas. You're a slow burn, and you're only 92 minutes long, which there's an 82-minute version, which I would still feel just as lost watching, because I don't imagine what they would cut out, maybe the opening scene that doesn't belong. But overall, this movie it wasn't even that fun to watch, because you just are left so empty-handed from everything. You don't get... This one brings me no joy whatsoever. So 1 dead trog.
Yeah, and I guess I'm still trying to like figure it out. Like during this conversation, I was like, but there are so many potential elements to make this like at least a 3 trog movie, you know?
Yeah.
And they did nothing.
But
nothing.
You could have, think about cooking. You could have so many potential ingredients, but chocolate chips and garlic, It's not gonna mix. It's not gonna mix. That's what you got here.
This is like someone reheating a hot dog with like a cup of mayonnaise and like a weird slice of cheese in the microwave.
This is my cheddar mayonnaise hot dog soup. It's delicious. I let it sit in the sun for 12 hours.
But on high for like a minute, so it's like goop.
Yeah. If the listeners really want to watch it, go watch it so you can kind of understand what we're talking about. But at the same time...
Yeah, like I said before, the only
Don't.
reason to watch this is if you get some people together and watch it Mystery Science Theater 3000 style and just know that you're going into it and it's not going to make sense and just have fun with it, then yeah, it's worth a chuckle.
Yeah, and play a drinking game, anytime Jamie gets really weird and pervy, anytime there's boobs, anytime you see orange eyes, you know?
The snack to eat during this film is mayonnaise, hot dogs, and cheddar soup.
You can find it on YouTube. There's a really bad quality version on YouTube, and one with an English version and one with Italian subtitles. I watched both.
I just imagine this movie destroying the language of love.
I mean, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, let me just learn some Italian,
Well, thank you for listening and hopefully subscribing. Please check us out at horrormelee.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we are now also on Spotify, so check us out on there.
You crummy little rat. You give me my bank. My aunt will call the police on you!
I don't think so.